Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast, the space for entrepreneurs on a quest for unwavering certainty and purpose. I'm your host, Lauren, and each episode is a compass guiding you through authentic conversations, unraveling the mysteries of your human design chart, and offering tools from the remarkable guest. Join me as we embark on a journey to manifest greatness and create a life aligned with our deepest purpose. This is the space where misfits find their enlightenment. Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast. Welcome back to the Enlightened Misfits podcast. I'm your host, Lauren, and in today's episode, I have Leman. She is a spiritual life coach, a holistic biz coach, and psychic. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here with us again. You are a returning guest. I love returning guests. Now, before we started recording, I was asking her that the last time that we actually recorded, which would technically be the second time, it was 10-10. And anybody listening, you know I'm all about numbers and numerology and signs from the universe. Like when I'm asking, I need to see it, and the number is usually through the numbers. And when we jumped on to record this today, I mean, it's not 10, it's 1-9, but she jumped on at 10-10. And I was like, there has to be some synchronicity for something. And I, again, told you this, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what that all means and what we're going to talk about today. So again, that was a long introduction, but welcome. I'm so honored to have you back here with us.
It's a great pleasure, and I'm fascinated from such a amazing the signs that are just coming through. And it's really funny because the signs that we always see in patterns, they always mean something. And maybe, it's something that we need to focus on so that we can actually start to understand those of what the universe is telling us. And I think today, I'm sensing that it's a sign for partnership and communication within ourselves and opening up to basically who we really are. And because we forget that. So, like Lauren mentioned, I'm a spiritual life coach, a holistic biz coach, and a psychic. And I have been on this journey for a very, very long time. And it took me from discovering my own unique self to communicating with my own inner strengths, putting myself out there with confidence and creation, where discovering my soul purpose, my soul mission to help other spiritual entrepreneurs to shine bright like a diamond. And don't hide behind the curtains, or don't stop playing hide and seek, because the world out there needs you even more.
Yes, I love that. And when you had said about what we're going to talk about today is the parallel realities, can you explain to the listeners what that means? Like if they're just like the little example that I gave, that I of course, being self-aware, and all of us are self-aware. We just have to be open to it, right? So if somebody is noticing, I think probably worldwide, everybody really knows what 11:11. That's always like, oh, I seen 11:11. But it's more than that. Can you kind of explain from your perspective, and you've been doing this a whole hell of a lot longer than I have. So can you kind of explain to the listeners like what that means if you see 111 and 222 and 333 and all the numbers? Can you kind of explain?
We could have a whole broadcast on the angel number symbols. It would take forever. I would have a 1 hour of it. But the most powerful one is definitely 11:11. They are all powerful, but it means that you are connected with the divine, and whatever you think is what you are manifesting otherwise. And it means that we are one, we are whole, we are, and in other words, the divine is listening to you. Be aware of what you're thinking.
I love that. Be aware of what you're thinking. And just like you said when we started recording, you said right where you are, and tell us where you are in the world again.
Cyprus, actually.
Okay.
I live in Cyprus.
Okay. Yeah. So it's 555 there, and it was 1010. And it's funny how we'll dive into this in a second, but it's actually very interesting. When I always believed that time is not really real, but in the 3D it has to be, right? Like it's that whole thing. And that's why I always said to myself, I never can be on time, normal 3D time, because it's like I'm living in sometimes I feel like I live in another world, in a dimension, because it's like I just kind of am in my own flow. And of course society would look at that like, oh, she's always late, or she's, obviously if it's an important meeting, or if it's a podcast, or if it's stuff that like it's honoring somebody else's time. No, I'm not late. I'm always on time, but can you kind of talk a little bit about like what is a parallel reality, and how somebody would even come to the awareness that they might be living, in a different reality than they are?
Well, one thing for sure is, okay, there are other versions of us living in those parallel realities, right? And what it is, basically, it's not like a science fiction movie, right? That you just jump straight away into that reality.
Yeah.
Or there's a door opens up and you go through the door and now you're, for example, a famous spiritual life coach, right? It's not that, doesn't happen in that way of that sense. Now, what it is if you believe and if you can imagine something, you create that version of yourself. So when it comes down to manifesting or assumination affirmations, or the law of assumination, it comes when you truly believe that that is who you want to be, because you have already created that in that parallel reality, that version of yourself. And you say, yeah, but look at my 3D reality right now. This is happening, that's happening, I'm all tumbled up and etc. And you're just moaning and moaning and moaning, and you're not getting, yeah, but, right? So right. What is it when it comes down to how can you actually leap into that reality is look at your 3D reality from a different window, analyze it, feel the emotions. So I'm not saying don't feel the emotions, but know that that is just an illusion and you can be who you want to be.
Wow. Yeah. So two things that came up when you were saying this is, for one, I'm like, she must be you're obviously in a different country than I am. I was like, she must be in my house. So literally last night, my husband had said, Lauren, you should really look into a law of assumption. And I was like, I know the universal laws. Do I, I learned them, but it's like, you always have to come back to them. And I was like, why do you say that? And he said, you should just learn. He was like, I just need to tell you this. You should look into the law of assumption. And you literally had just said that. So if I needed to hear it, the other, so I love how synchronistic this is just flowing. It just makes me, I have like goosebumps right now. But, so for the listeners that don't know what maybe they do know, they're familiar with the laws of the universe, but don't really know what law of assumption is. Can you kind of explain that?
Okay, so everybody is much more familiar with law of attraction, which right. is also sort of like a synchronicity between them both. But okay. With the law of assumption, it's like the knowing. It's the affirmation that you know. And when it comes down to manifesting, you know that it's already created, and you know that you don't have to do the effort to create. And with the law of assumption, it's more like you are in aligned with what you want to manifest. So when you say something like, I am a successful spiritual entrepreneur, you're feeling the emotions inside of you, right? And you look at the 3D reality of, okay, this is what I'm experiencing right now, but I'm not inhaling that energy, right? So it's because it's like you're going to have that quantum leap, but first of all, you need to take the steps step by step and start in believing in yourself that that is possible, right? So it's not like you can't feel negative, you can't feel like, you know, doubts, right? Because that is your true nature. So with law of assumption, it's confirming to yourself that this is how your subconscious mind is programming itself now. Because what it does, your subconscious mind, it has to get used to your new frequency, your new energy, your new belief. So when you have a doubt or something pops up in your 3D reality, like you experience someone telling, oh, you know, you can't be a spiritual entrepreneur worldwide famous, you know, that's totally impossible. How do you expect to be one, blah, 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 and all these things? Or you've experienced something where, yeah, well, I can't even get one client. So how am I going to be a famous worldwide spiritual entrepreneur? Right? So it doesn't matter what your 3D is showing you. It's like I mentioned, looking from another window. It's like, okay, fine. Then what do I need to see? Show me, universe. What do I need to see? Allow me to see it. Show me. Show me the motions that I'm actually experiencing right now and what I need to face. So it's facing yourself with the emotions inside of you so that you bring out the belief system of whatever you want to manifest. So Neville Goddard is an amazing mentor that actually talks about the law of assumption, and his teachings make you realize, yeah, but what have I been doing wrong for all this time with my manifestations? Or the, you know, so the law of assimilation is, first of all, believing it in yourself, but facing the emotions that you are facing where you have to face them, right? So it's not letting go of those worries and doubts and, hey, don't cry or anything, letting go of those self-doubts and that cry and everything. It's make you, yes, you, of course you're going to cry, okay? Of course you're going to be upset. Of course you're going to get emotional. Of course you're going to be unhappy, right? That is going to get you to awaken so that the law of assimilation can work for you. One good way that is great to do it is journal what you think about wherever you're manifesting, whether it's love, relationship, a job, or having your own business. Write down what you feel about yourself. Write down all those negative things, cross them out, and then reverse those thoughts into positive affirmations like, I am. And another one is, rather than saying is right, is right now, or now, it's like, so the way of actually creating those affirmations is putting in the crossing what you think about yourself when you actually sit down and you write them, and then reversing them into, I am a successful, for example, I am a successful spiritual entrepreneur.
Right.
I am reaching thousands of people every day. I am making more money than I can ever spend. Right.
Yeah.
So, or whatever it is, or whatever you're thinking. So that doesn't have to be just for finances, right? Or business. It can be, I have a happy relationship, right? Or, you know, and whatever that is that you want in your life. So what it is accepting the emotions, releasing the emotions, and then starting to manifest what you desire. Because you can't fill up a glass of water when the glass already has water inside it. You need to empty it out and then fill it in. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that analogy that you just literally used, because I have noticed with myself, and I did like a poll on in my free Facebook group that I wanted to see how many emotional authorities they were in human design. And there is a lot, like statistically, there's about 50% of the world that have an emotional authority. But in the general population in society, nobody really knows how to manage their emotions, because nobody, in my generation, nobody really showed us how to, because I'm 35. And I feel like that's been a trend through generations. And we're all breaking these generational, I don't really call them curses, they're just generational patterns. Some people
Yeah.
call them curses. It's the same thing. If somebody calls it a curse, it's fine. It's not a curse. It's just what happens. It's just how it's supposed to happen. And I notice that when you talk about emotions, and you had said this like you've said it more than one time when it comes to manifestation. And I often feel like this is the answer, people listening to this, that this is the answer of why things are not working out the way it was the answer for me a couple years ago. I'm an emotional authority, and just based off my entire being in my astrology, my top three, I know it matters more about your planets and stuff too, but my top three, I'm an Aquarius, a Pisces moon, and Pisces rising. I have two very heavy emotional placements. So with an emotional authority. So I never knew how to manage my emotions. Nobody showed me. I had to figure out it myself, because my whole life, nothing was working out because of my mindset. Nobody showed me to do the complete opposite, until one day the universe was like, wake the hell up. You need to stop doing this, train of events that I was just like sick of myself, hated myself. And I was like, how about if I actually do the complete opposite of what I ever knew? Because people ask, how did you get how you are today? Like, how did you get here? I'm like, well, the Cliff Notes version of I hated myself to the point that I love myself. So it's like, it's just that shift. And to be honest, when a lot of people say, I see it all over social media, it's like, I wish they would just do this, or I wish people would just be this. And it's like, for me, I always say everybody has their own journey. Obviously, that's why I love human design and astrology, because you don't even know if they're just here to have fun. Like, they could be living this lifetime to just be having fun. Obviously you can see that more in depthly in like a human design chart. Like the 4-1 profiles, they literally are just here to have fun. So are they going to take life seriously? No. Are they going to have these huge lavish goals and intentions for this lifetime? No, that's not their intent. That's not their purpose. And I always say everybody has a place here. Everybody has a purpose. Some people don't know their purpose. Some people do. And I feel like that's where I started. I just knew I've had visions and I've had dreams that I got stuck here, I should say, not really stuck, but I got stuck, placed back on earth, because I'm here to help the collective new earth leaders change how things have been done for so many years. So like I've seen that, and I'm actually still kind of going through that, because I needed to see it more, because I was in a place that I didn't want to be on earth anymore. Like this isn't my home. I want to go back home. Like I hear a lot of people say that. And it's like, if you have that same thought, I always say, get curious on, there's a purpose here. It makes your life easier. And I think you probably would agree that it makes your life so easier and flow so much better when you figure out why you decided to stay here. Because here's the thing, I know I'm going to trigger a lot of people when I say this, but you decided to stay here. I say that all the time. And when I do this on coaching calls, they look at me and they're like, I can tell, I can literally read their ego. And their ego is like, no, I didn't. No, you didn't. She's lying to you. Like, like you just know. And I mean, I walk in a room and I trigger people. I don't intentionally trigger people. I don't like that. I like to bring out the best in people. But, everybody, has a little like, Lauren, did you have to say that? Did you really have to say that?
Well, I can tell you what things that I experienced is so funny. It's like when, I started my business online. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to do, who to turn to. I was totally lost. And I experienced so many things that had got me into the state that I am in today as a holistic business coach, helping other spiritual entrepreneurs. And it got me into the conclusion of saying, hey, you're a light worker, you have to suffer to get there, right? Because you're teaching other people to do it. The same thing with relationship. I mean, I've been going through a challenging time with relationships, and now I'm going into that space of healing those wounds, because I've got an insight coming deeply through that I should start doing relationship coaching as well on spiritual life coaching combination. So I'm like, okay, what the hell is this, right? Do I have to experience all these things so that I have the realization to go through the process and help others, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Right. Okay, well, what's next? It's like really crazy and I realize it but it's the way we actually see how the universe is preparing us for certain things. So, yeah. I mean, and what happens is, right, you're like, yeah, well, I didn't manifest something, or I didn't manifest that, or I didn't manifest this. But somehow, some way, maybe you had a fear of something, or maybe it just crossed your mind, right? Somehow, a few times. And there is a saying that if you say something 40 times, it happens. Even if you don't realize it happens. 40 times.
Hey there, I just wanted to take a quick moment to share with all of you spiritual rebels and fempreneurs. If you've been craving a space where you can build wealth, heal trauma, and rise alongside like-minded women, I got something for you to hear about. I'm excited to invite you into the Enlightened Misfits Sisterhood. This is a low-cost, high-impact group membership designed exclusively for spiritual fempreneurs who know they need accountability and support to create sustainable wealth, but aren't ready to dive into a one-on-one mentorship. In this membership, you'll get monthly calls, rituals, healing sessions, and workshops to break through your self-doubt and build confidence so that you can consistently sell your offers and make money. This is also a collaborative private Facebook community where you make lifelong connections with other women who are just as serious as hitting their goals. And my personal guidance as your intuitive human design business guide and trauma healer, ensuring you stay aligned and on track with your business goals. Plus, you'll get free access to all my paid workshops and masterclasses, along with exclusive VIP pricing for my one-on-one Voxer membership. This membership is all about helping you heal the sabotaging behaviors blocking your abundance and using your human design to create a business that feels amazing to run. Imagine waking up excited to serve your clients and knowing that you have the exact support you need to hit every single one of your business goals every single month. So if you're ready to rise and build wealth with a sisterhood of spiritual misfits, make sure you click the registration link in the description box. Right now, the investment is just $88 a month, but the price will increase to $197 a month. Join today to unlock exclusive rates and get access to next month's kickoff call. Let's get back to today's episode, but remember, your next level is just one decision away. Join the sisterhood and let's rise together.
Yes. So meaning that, and I'm just,
even when you speak about something, right? So let's say, for example, you said that I never have enough money in my account. I never have enough money in my account. So what happens? You go in debt. And then you don't have any money to pay the debt.
right.
Right? So do you see the synchronicity of what's happening? And then, when it comes down to, actually, you have to be so careful, because we are the creators of our own realities. And it comes with a solution as well as a communication within yourself, your thoughts, your beliefs, and who you really are, right? So within your life mission, your life purpose, the communication that you have within yourself, because everything is delusional. And I always say that this life that we are in, we are the actors, the directors, and the creators of.
Yeah. So when you, I think it's very powerful what you just said. And for the listeners listening, I'm going to give you an example for myself. From when I used to tell myself, especially before I got paying clients or in my business, I used to lie to myself and tell myself that I had a business. And when people say they have a business and you have not got paid, like a paid client, now there is a transition period of when you have to gain authority, right? So you have to do a lot of free shit for free, right? So I've done that, but then it transitioned to the next year. And then I would say to myself, this is now going on, I want to say like 3 years of actually paying clients, but the first year I had to do a lot of deconditioning, and I had to do a lot of boundary work, and I had to do a lot of learning, and I still learn every single day. And when people come to me because they look at my success online and they think that it just happened overnight. No, I didn't meet Gary Vee. I didn't meet Dolores Cannon and blow up when she was still here. I didn't blow up. That's overnight success. If you meet a very successful person and they guide you through whatever they went through, and that, like, if I had Gary Vee on the podcast, I just love him. I wouldn't need to do anything else because he would just sell whatever we're talking about, because he has thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, that whole thing. That's a blow up overnight success for people listening. That's not reality. That is not, if a coach is telling you that or a mentor is telling you that, they're lying to you. That's not the journey. It takes a lot of masculine energy to build a business, and it takes a lot of balance between masculine and feminine. And especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, meaning you do it alone, maybe with a VA or maybe with another partner, which is why I feel like now in 2025 it's so important. The energy is too heavy for us to do it alone. And I feel like I've seen a lot more spiritual entrepreneurs collaborating and doing things alone, because I feel like that's not also talked about either. And I talked with a couple of friends that I was like, don't you see this pattern happening? I'm a projector in human design. So of course I see the bigger picture of things. And I was like, I think we need to do more partnerships. So if there's something I can help you with and that you can help me with, that's how we should do things. And I feel like the delusional ego based of I do manifestation, I'm a business coach, I only can do it for me and all that stuff. I feel like that actually, your business, you're not going to have a business at the end of 2025. You know what I mean? Do you see that as well?
Yeah, okay. I see that too. I definitely do see that. And it is a time of collaboration, because what the universe is actually preparing us for. There's lots of big awakenings going to be happening in 2025, 2026. And the portal has opened up for us to be whole, one, and united together.
Yeah.
And especially us spiritual entrepreneurs, we have to come together, because it's time so that we could create again, right? We are creating that new reality for the world, right? So it's not just for yourself, it's not just for your ego, okay? And like Lauren, what you said, you won't have a business at the end of 2025 if you do not collaborate with others.
Yeah.
Because it's not the time for ego. And what's happening, I mean, the last couple of years, I mean, people are starting to accept each other, right? So that no religion, no race is, changing our thoughts of becoming one, becoming whole. I mean, we've had experiences where in many countries where there has been Black people becoming presidents, prime ministers, right? Different races, different religions. So what if this happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, right? People would go mad. Yeah, look at this, look at and everyone is speaking in that alignment, right? I mean, it's not a coincidence, all this, because it's preparing us to become that whole, so that we can heal the humanity, heal ourselves, let go of all that negative energy that is surrounding us, and start to become who we really are, what we are here for, to have fun. We're here to support each other and have fun. We're here to live in peace and harmony and have fun.
Yeah. And I don't know who had, it had to have been another podcast guest, and at the top of my mind, I don't remember who it is, so I can't give the credit out, but it didn't come from me. It's concept that or maybe I seen it somewhere. But she had said, just remember, I think her words of wisdom were, just remember that the human experience is, you come here to feel. To experience the human experience, which I often myself, current day, often forget, especially because I'm in my mind, I'm in my head and I have all this stuff going on, or I feel like I'm doing all this stuff. And I realize if I just breathing comes from the body, right? And I just actually put myself back into my body, which is why I got into human design, because that makes you stay into your body, especially if you're experiencing different things, and or like somatic workout or yoga or whatever. You experience stuff versus your head or your ego or whatever telling you something different. And I know for me, I have a huge past of hating myself, or not getting along with my ego, or telling my ego it's not welcome here, and that didn't work out. So obviously I had to change something. I feel like every part just trying to reject myself until I got back into human design. I always loved human design, but you just shift out of different things when you're learning different things. And I realized my genetic trauma which is in my cells, which is why I'm so passionate about teaching about it, is because that is your core wound. We all have the core wound of not enough. Every single one. It's just a different experience, right? But your genetic trauma is what you're here to overcome. That is the lesson, or, sure, it's the North Node, South Node. People talk about that too. But I often know, if you look at every situation in your life, I say to people, look at your genetic trauma. And that's also not talked about a lot either, because nobody really knows what that means. Mine's rejection. That makes so much sense. I rejected myself constantly. So when I tell people, well, your genetic trauma is whatever, it could be denial, it could be suppression, they're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And they use that tool that I told them to stop doing that, stop suppressing, stop rejecting, stop, whatever. And I feel like that little primary, tip and tool is really, really important for people trying to navigate manifestation. Because if I reject myself, how am I going to ever do anything? Like, so I don't know. We didn't do your chart, but I'm going to do it after at the call. But, for you, it would be whatever yours is. And I feel like that's really empowering when you're trying to manifest and your heart chakra is closed, or
Absolutely.
it's a trauma response for me personally, that still to this day, and I'm very clear and authentic about what I go through, because I feel like I do know that my tools, what I go through, my experiences, maybe somebody listening, they're going to be like, oh, I have a similar experience like Lauren. Let me try what Lauren did, because what my way is not working. That's kind of literally how I got to this point. And I still, my mentors, I always tell people, hey, if you don't have a mentor, or you don't have somebody that you're working with, you don't always need to have a paid mentor. You don't always need to be, like, that's not what I'm saying here, but you need to have somebody that is a little bit further along in their journey than you are, because if not, who's guiding you? You can't always use spirit. You can't always use the universe. You have to use other human beings, which is taking us back down to partnerships. So I just love this conversation.
One thing that I also want to mention here is we sign a contract before we get here,
right,
of what we want to experience. So those traumas, so with the human design, and I mean, I'm not an expert on human design, I just know what it's about, etc. So I'm not the expert like you are, but with even your astral charts, with all those things, right, it's already predicted before you get here,
right,
because you sign that contract to experience that fear, that thought, that experience, that thing that you are experiencing. Why? Because you want to experience it as a soul.
right. To clear out karma, to clear out.
Why would I experience such a terrible trauma? Well, that's what you wanted, right? So get your act together.
Yeah.
Emotions out of it, and start becoming that best version of yourself and reach up to nirvana, because that's wanted, right? That's what you were experiencing. Yeah, but why would I, and you keep asking this, but why would I want such a terrible trauma, in my life? But you did.
Yeah.
Okay. Somewhere down the line, that's what you wanted, right? And then you come into the 3D reality, if we put it all together, of creating your life with your thoughts, with your fears, with your regrets, with your sorrows. And then you're like, yeah, but I didn't want this life. I didn't want to experience this certain thing right now. Right. But you are the scenario, right? You are the creator, you are the scenario, you are the actor. And it's up to you to actually turn the tables round. And what do you want to experience? So letting go of the fear, the doubt, the sorrow, and then starting to create your 3D reality, quantum leaping into the parallel reality that is already there.
Right.
And it doesn't happen overnight. So you have to do the hard work to get there.
Yeah, that is right. And I'm glad that you said that, because that is the work, right? Like, when people say, I want this, I want that, okay, then what are you doing? Action, masculine again, what are you doing to get there? And then you tell me what you're doing to get there. And most of the time it's like, I don't know what to do. Okay, well, let's start at square one, stop looking at step 10, and that's where our brains go. Same thing with, you said, the soul, your soul, meaning not your ego, not all your personality, not all of everything else. It's deciding to come here. And it's different, because that's why, same thing, that's like a different lens to look at. And you said this earlier in our conversation, that it's a different window. So I want you listeners to really focus on, and I feel like there's a lot of repetitive things that we kind of talked about. And I feel like all of my podcasts. Whatever needs to come out from the guest and whatever needs to come out from me comes out, and whoever needs to listen to it, if it's 5 people, if it's 2 million people, that's what you need to hear. So trust it. And I feel like for what she said was basically, you are the, like, it's like you are the common denominator of everything in your life. And until you accept that, I think I'm paraphrasing because it's more my words, but until you accept that, right, that is going to be your 3D reality. And if you don't like it, change it. Literally just change it. Change one thought, change one action. And then, you'll look back 5 years later, or 5 years from now, or, 5 years later, and you're like, how the hell did I get here? Well, it's that one thought, that one step that changed your life. So I love that.
The concept that says when you're manifesting for something, act as if it's already happened. That, right, is misunderstood wrong. 100%. So it doesn't mean that you are going to go around being a nutcase, right, pretending and playing a game, like, right? But it's living in the releasing, right, what you believe, and healing yourself within, and actually taking that action to see the end result. So it doesn't mean that you are going to be pretending and playing a game, right? But it's actually releasing, letting go, and making your progress towards the end result. So a lot of people say, yeah, but, act as if it's something like, how can I act something out when it's not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a mistaken thing about what people think of that, because it's not, like I mentioned, playing a game with yourself, that you have the end result, right? So you're a online spiritual entrepreneur worldwide, and you're on your computer playing all day, and hi, pretending you're having sessions or whatever. That is not what you're doing. That is not it. It is actually release, let go, stay in the moment, and work towards your end result, seeing you are there already.
Right. I love that. Thank you for explaining that process. Where can everybody find you? I'll make sure that also in the description box below, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to this on the podcast platform, whatever podcast platform you listen to this, where can they find you?
I have a Facebook, so you can find me on Leman, Simen, Balses as well. I also have a group called Female Spiritual Entrepreneurs, Unleash Your Authentic Power. And also I have a Instagram. I'm not very active on there, but I'm actually working on getting more active on there as well. And it's called Angel Light Spirituality, my Instagram as well. So you can find me also on there too.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode with Leman on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and maybe share this with somebody that you feel that will gain knowledge from listening. Stay tuned for more captivating conversations in the future, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on another enlightening episode on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. If you are a current or inspiring to be fempreneur, suffering from the fear of being seen and or feel very triggered when you're building your business, reach out to me at The Mermaid Light about my Rich and Resilient Biz Baddies. This is a collective text message Voxer support group designed to help you heal your triggers and turn imposter syndrome into bad bitch energy. If you resonate with our conversations and insight, don't forget to subscribe, rate the show, and leave a review. Your feedback fuels our mission. Remember, your journey to unwavering certainty and purpose is ongoing. So please make sure you stay connected with us on social media. Keep manifesting greatness in your life. Until next time, this is Lauren from the Enlightened Misfits podcast. Stay enlightened, stay inspired, and keep manifesting your extraordinary path.